This is also true. There was one instance, one very famous instance of a hostage that they said had been wounded or was a casualty. I think like there was a little bit of miscommunication. And then that actually caused a lot of chaos internally in Israel. People got mad. People were saying like, you know, facilitate the ceasefire, facilitate the ceasefire. And at the time, people thought, or the Israeli government thought that Hamas was just bluffing, claiming that some of the hostages had been killed specifically to apply pressure inside of the Israeli by the way, while we were speaking, the Israeli military has announced that one of the bodies received is not that of the captive Shiri Bibas. They also claimed, without providing evidence, that according to the assessment of professional officials based on the intelligence available to us and forensic findings of the two children, Ariel and Kfir Bibas, were by terrorists in captivity in November 2023. Forensic examinations focus on the cause of death and the specifics of how the person died, such as blunt force trauma, shrapnel wounds, gunshot wounds, or stabbing. Injuries are described objectively with terms like severe trauma or multiple stab wounds. However, terms like are not typically found in the official forensic reports. So, don't know the validity of this forensic investigation, but I don't know what's going on with Shiri Bibas' body. Was it done by an independent body? Of course not. Yeah. What's interesting about this process, as I described earlier today, is that in November 2023, only a month after October 7, Hamas revealed that Ariel and Kfir Bibas and Shiri Bibas had died in an Israeli airstrike. They also said that they would release the bodies to Israel. Israel refused the bodies initially, stating that this was simply a tactic by Hamas. I don't know why they would be willing to release the bodies to Israel if they had these hostages. For no reason, for no apparent reason. Will we get the truth ever? Yeah, I think in a lot of these instances you have a lot of journalists. You also have family members that will want to. Do you have a source to Israel refusing the bodies? I want to send it to my mom. There was a Sky News report that we looked at earlier. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it again. But we watched it. We watched it earlier. November. Oh, here it is. Wait, what is this? Times Now news? I don't know what Times Now World is. I don't know what this article is. I don't know what this media outlet is. Hamas on Thursday claimed that Israel is refusing to take back the dead bodies of the Bibas family members, including Kfir, who's 10 months old. The Palestine group also posted a video of Yarden Bibas, the father, on his Telegram channel. On Wednesday, Hamas had claimed the 10-month-old Kfir, 4-year-old Ariel, and their mother Shiri Silberman Bibas, 30, were killed in an Israeli bombardment. Yeah, I don't know how valid this story is, but I don't know how valid this news outlet is. But at the time, there was coverage from both Al Jazeera and even Sky News.
Who's a member of Hamas's political office. Thank you for joining us on Al Jazeera. So we saw an extension of that ceasefire by 1 day until tomorrow, 7 a.m. What's the likelihood that it will be extended again? Because all eyes are on what's going to happen tomorrow.
This is the 7th day of humanitarian ceasefire. We are negotiating now through Qatari Foreign Ministry to extend the humanitarian ceasefire as soon as
bit of time with the family over the past few weeks. I was with them just yesterday, and they were, as you would expect, desperately waiting for news. They were confused and very upset as to why their family had not yet been released, and they were trying to digest and understand the news that it was the belief that Hamas had passed their family on to another group in Gaza. So it has been just the most awful time for them, as it has been for other hostage families awaiting the release of their relatives. But now the news this afternoon from the Al-Qassam brigades, which is the military wing of Hamas, that the family were killed in an airstrike at some stage. Now, I really should add some pretty heavy caveats to this. Firstly, the IDF have said they're looking into it. They have not confirmed it, and I have spoken to the IDF, and they will say they will get back to us on that. Secondly, there have been occasions in the last week or so when hostages who had previously been declared dead by one or more armed groups in Gaza actually turned out not to have died and have subsequently been released. And I'm sure that
this is also true. There was one instance, one very famous instance of a hostage that they said had been wounded or was a casualty. I think like there was a little bit of miscommunication. And then that actually caused a lot of chaos internally in Israel. People got mad. People were saying like, you know, facilitate the ceasefire, facilitate the ceasefire. And at the time, people thought, or the Israeli government thought that Hamas was just bluffing, claiming that some of the hostages had been killed specifically to apply pressure inside of the Israeli civil society. So there is at least a little bit of skepticism for that reason as well.
That is something that the family will be clinging on to tonight. But it comes as this truce, as it currently stands, is getting close to the end if no extension is agreed. Tonight, we expect 10 more Israelis.
I'm confused. Can you be more clear who claimed they were dead, Israel or Hamas? Hamas claimed that the mother and the two children, the two babies, were killed in an Israeli airstrike. Okay? They also said that they would, this was during the brief ceasefire negotiation period as well. Okay? Israel, at the time, claimed that it was made up, or was skeptical about it, saying that they perhaps have not been killed and Hamas is bluffing. Okay?
Possibly too far.
This was, how far back was that claim? November 2023. We're watching a news report from November 29th, 2023. Hamas's arm wing has claimed 3 members of the Bibas family have been killed inside Gaza.
Foreign nationals to be released from Gaza. In return, Israel will release 30 Palestinians from Israeli jails. And then the mediations behind the scenes are continuing to try and see that it is extended. The Israelis believe that there are many more women and children in Gaza, enough at least to extend the truce by 2 to 3 more days if Hamas would agree to release them. Hamas have said that they are willing to extend the...
Yeah, they said that they were willing to release the bodies. By the way, it is kind of maddening that we're discussing whether Hamas killed some hostages deliberately while we have evidence of Israelis raping Palestinian hostages to death on concentration camps and filming it. Yes, that is the dynamic here. And yes, the father was separated from the family, chatter who's asking. What would they gain from lying about it? This chatter says, I'm not saying they are. I'm saying if the father was captured with them, he would know if they're alive or not, unless they were separated, which is what I'm assuming. Yes, they were separated. Yes. The father was separated from the mother and the children. The mother and the children were together. This was, again, in November 2023. Okay? The arm wing of the Palestinian militant group Hamas said on Wednesday that 10-month-old Kfir Bibas, his 4-year-old brother, and their mother were killed in previous Israeli bombardment of the Gaza Strip. The Israeli army said it is checking the claim by Al-Qassam brigades. Reuters could not immediately independently verify the claim. Having said that, I do not know what happened, obviously. I'm simply telling you what the news reporting was at the time, and also matching that with the logical actions that either party would take. Okay? This is what Hamas claims. Israel hasn't said shit about this as far as I know, right? No, Israel now is saying, if Israel was certain it was Hamas, wouldn't they strongly deny their claim? No, Israel is now saying that they received the bodies of the Bibas family. Okay? And that they are claiming that forensics investigations were done and that the investigation concluded that the children were by Hamas. Following the completion of the identification process by the National Institute of Forensic Medicine in collaboration with the Israel police, IDF representatives informed the Bibas family that their loved ones, Ariel and Kfir Bibas, have been identified. According to the assessment of professional officials, based on the intelligence available to us and forensic findings from the identification process, Ariel and Kfir Bibas were by terrorists in captivity in November 2023. This is the post from the IDF. During the identification process, it was determined that the additional body received is not that of Shiri Bibas. and no match was found for any other hostage. This is an anonymous, unidentified body. This is a violation of utmost severity by the Hamas terrorist organization, which is obligated under the agreement to return 4 deceased hostages. We demand that Hamas return Shiri home along with all of our hostages. Didn't they just get the remains? How can they conclude it this quickly? I mean, I don't know. They could be just lying. They could have conducted a faulty investigation, or they could be telling the truth, which is, you know, I'm just matching what Israel has done in the past. Your chat half brain rot. They hate Israel so much they lack judgment in terms of like what the logical conclusion is, or what the logic behind Hamas giving up a wrong body. I don't know why they would pull up, haha, we did this to fuck with you type situation. Here's the previous hostage blaming Israel for trying to bomb the places they were held in. Yeah, this is mother of released Israeli prisoner of war Naama Halevi. From her time in captivity, she mainly has anger towards the state. She feels they tried to kill her because they bombed the house she was in. In one case, they got out last minute. The wall fell and she was injured. She has hard stories. Her biggest fear was our bombings. This has been the most consistent first-hand testimony from the hostages that have been released. Okay? If they were killed in a bombing with other people and couldn't get the bodies until they already decayed, it could be possible that it was mixed up. Yes, there is a possibility there as well, for sure. I think that in terms of the mother, they might have tried to recover the bodies from under the rubble and mistakenly recover the wrong body. This also happened super early in November, at a time when there were many different militant factions, including criminal organizations that had also taken hostages. Like just criminal elements that have nothing to do with the Palestinian Liberation Movement or anything like that. They were not PFLP, DFLP, Fatah's armed wing, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, or Hamas, or any number of different groups that were collaborating with one another. And it could have been one of those groups that had kidnapped these people. Apparently, she was the lady from that video that allegedly got sexually assaulted. Has there been any information from that story? Wait, what? Yeah, I doubt the IDF is lying about the body being wrong. It's more likely that a faulty DNA test on the side of, or a mix-up on the bodies on Hamas' side. No, that's what I think as well. I don't think the IDF is lying about the body not belonging to the actual person. I think I mean, I don't know enough information about the forensic evidence revelations in terms of like the children being brutally murdered by Hamas. While Naama Halevi was frightened to death of the bombings, Israelis were using her bloody pants video from October 7th to push more and more force. Sorry, it's Naama Levy, not Naama Halevi. I agree with you, but it's a bold claim to make, Haas. Wait, what? It's naive to think that Israel and the U.S. media will see Hamas in good faith. No, wait, what? I'm confused. What claim did I make? I didn't make a claim at all. An anonymous, unidentified body seems weird that there's a hostage they knew nothing of. Unless a Palestinian, then Hamas definitely wouldn't have given that body over on purpose. No, I think they might have accidentally. Dude, if it's under the rubble, I don't know when they extracted the bodies. I don't know at what point they extract the bodies. You have to remember the bombing campaigns are endless at this point. This is in November. Okay? I don't know who was capable of extracting these bodies. I don't know what their recovery. I don't know what their recovery strategies look like. I don't know how they maintain the bodies. At this point, it's November of 2023, not 2024, 2023. A month after the Israel bombing campaign started. You understand? Israel literally holds over 600 Palestinian dead bodies going back several decades. They just keep them. No, I know. Even when Hasan is giving Israel the benefit of the doubt, he's still making bold claims, lol. I don't think that was what that chatter was implying. I think that chatter probably misunderstood what I was saying. I feel like if Israel finally had concrete proof Hamas violently killed a baby, they wouldn't hesitate to put it out there. We'll see. But there has been an ongoing legal issue with what do you call it? But the fact that the fourth body is not the mother is actually fairly shocking. Yeah, mind you, this doesn't exclude the possibility of random. This is co-founder of 972 magazine, Demi Ryder, This is the Israeli Investigative Reporting magazine that I have routinely relied on for some really good investigative reporting. Brutally murdered in captivity is routine IDF lingo regarding dead hostages, whatever / whoever immediate cause of death. In other words, we won't be releasing the autopsy report just yet. Remember, this is Plus 972 magazine. This is an Israeli investigative reporting outlet. But the fact that the fourth body is not their mother is actually fairly shocking. What the actual fuck? Yeah, that part is actually the most surprising aspect of this. Because the fact that Israel is saying that this is not the correct body means that there is most likely a mix-up that happened on the Hamas side. I'm inclined to believe Israel when they say, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm inclined to believe Israel when they say that this is not the correct body. I'm also judging by past performance from the Hamas side. I'm not talking about the forensic reporting. I'm talking specifically about the mother's body. Okay? But I don't think this was a deliberate act of trickery from the Hamas side. And I think most likely it is a mix-up that they engaged in. We'll know soon enough if and when Hamas releases their statement. Okay? There are a multitude of different factors at play in terms of why they could have recovered the wrong body, thinking that it was actually the body of the mother. Okay? But I think you've seen enough people remains inside of trash bags in Gaza to understand why it would be incredibly difficult to figure out exactly whose body belongs to who. These bodies have been under constant bombardment and have been actively decomposing for over a year now. It's genuinely likely that it was a mix-up for those reasons. Yeah, exactly. Mind you, this doesn't exclude the possibility that the random gang / mega esoteric militant group that held the kids actually did kill them. But IDF vagueness hardly dispels suspicions they too were victims of IDF's own indiscriminate assault. Okay, well, I don't know. They didn't wait for a year to collect the body. They collected soon after. No, I know they collected it soon after. But even in that chaos, they might have accidentally collected the wrong body. That's my point. Do you not understand? I'm saying that they're being constantly bombarded. There is a very high likelihood that they grabbed the wrong body, thinking that it was the body of the mother. The only thing I have to judge this by is the fact that Hamas, the only fact I have in support of this being potentially a mix-up on the Hamas side is the fact that Hamas said that they would release these bodies to Israel literally a year and a half ago in November when they were first initially killed. Okay? How the fuck would Israel know if they had the wrong body? Accidents happen? Wait, what do you mean? They have forensic data. They can literally match her dental records. Anyway, will Israel further and more intently violate the ceasefire agreement it uses as a justification? Potentially. But I think one of the major aspects of why the ceasefire is held is because I suspect that there is not a lot of appetite from the Israeli side, or at least like logistically, they're not ready to go back into the Gaza Strip. I think that is the greatest deterrence here, if you know what I mean. The greatest deterrence against Israel invading Gaza currently is their appetite for permanently annexing the West Bank. That's number one. And also the fact that they just simply do not want to mobilize in Gaza.